Senator Blackburn, we're here at CPAC. CPAC Sunshine Edition here in Orlando,
Yes,
Florida.
is.
Sunny, 75 outside. It's beautiful.
And sunny spirits. I mean, people are so excited, to be together, for conservatives to be together and to talk about how we push back against the Biden agenda.
This is the first CPAC after the Democrats have just retaken complete control in Washington. Biden's the president, Kamala's the vice president. They've got the Senate, they've got the White House, they've got the House. Barely on the Senate and the House side. What conversation needs to happen here among conservatives, among Republicans, about the future of the party, the future of the movement, so that Republicans can retake the majorities in both chambers and retake the White House in 2024?
People need to talk about the things that unite us. If you are a conservative, you're for lower Texas, lighter regulation, more individual freedom, a strong military. And those are the things that we need to focus on. We need to talk about the importance of election integrity. And people need to return to their states and say, I'm going to work with my local election commission. We're going to be sure the rolls are cleaned up, that the signatures match. People need to take responsibility for election law in their states. People need to be active in social media and say, how do we protect our free speech? How do we make certain that we push back on the issues of energy and education? And I think this is a time for conservatives. We know we're right on the constitutional values. It's the time to say, I'm going to arm myself up with facts. I'm going to be a happy warrior in this fight for freedom, and I am not going to give up. I'm going to stand for protecting the Constitution every single day.
You mentioned at the top there, fighting the Biden agenda and exposing the really radical agenda. One of the things about Biden, he's very boring as president, right? Like,
yes.
in that, one of the side effects of that is that they've got this really radical agenda that they're slipping through under the radar, and people aren't really noticing it. Biden certainly not as exciting as President Trump was, right? Like, and so it's not commanding a lot of attention he's not commanding a lot of attention as president, but that allows him to push this really radical leftist agenda. We're seeing that on things like China, on things like climate and energy, on things like the economy. Tell us about some of the things that you're noticing, Senator, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are doing in their administration. Several of these radical nominees that we're starting to see exposed.
Yes, and this is where people should be looking, is the Biden executive orders, and really paying attention to what he is doing there, because the majority of his executive orders have been favorable to who? China. You look at the Keystone Pipeline. Who gets that crude from Canada? It's China. You look at rejoining the Paris Climate Accords. That is not going to help American workers. It is going to empty out 1.4 million American jobs. When you talk about more favorable...
And they go to China. They don't go to China. It's not like they disappear. They go to China.
That's right. And when you talk about making solar panels, those jobs aren't in the United States. There are 10 companies on the face of the earth making those solar panels. 8 of them are in China. When you talk about wind turbines, where are those made? They are made in China. When you talk about removing sanctions, you're talking about freeing up China. When you talk about that we're going to change some of our trade policy, you're talking about being favorable to China. And people need to pay attention to this, and then look at the people that he is putting forward to be in his cabinet and in the leadership positions in his administration. They're radical.
Right, and several of these people on the issue of China, and we've talked about this many times, this is not a game. Like, China is trying to take over the world. We're seeing that from Beijing.
They're going for domination.
Right, they're going for global domination. They're hitting us in every single element of American society, from our academia to Hollywood.
With Confucius Institutes, right? And on our campuses and Confucius classrooms, and investing in Hollywood movie companies. Yes, China is very much involved in trying to invest in America, but they want to play by a different set of rules than U.S. companies play by. We need the Biden administration to say, you know, Donald Trump was right about some of this. But if they are not going to do that, it is going to be up to the people of this country to say we have to continue the Trump policies.
So, Senator, but these Biden nominees, for instance, one that comes to mind is Linda Thomas Greenfield. She was the one who was just confirmed as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. In 2019, years after people like you, other senators, I mean, this was common knowledge that what the Belt and Road Initiative was doing was detrimental to the whole world. Anywhere it went, it caused damage. In 2019, she was giving paid speeches, I believe before the Confucius Institutes.
That's right. She was paid
praising the Belt and Road Initiative.
You're right. She was paid by the Confucius Institute to make a speech. And even though she claimed she was going to a college, she didn't realize it was the Confucius Institute.
I'm sorry, the ignorance defense doesn't work in 2019.
And she praised China and the Belt and Road Initiative and China moving into Africa to offer assistance, and said working with China was a win-win-win.
Right.
To which I said it is a lose-lose-lose. It is a loss for us as a nation. It is a loss for our allies. It is a loss for U.S. workers. It is a loss for our children because China is trying to steal their minds through this soft propaganda.
What I think that shows, and there's several other Biden nominees that have similar types of backgrounds, very serious lapses in judgment or miscalculations with regard to this, it shows the thinking of the commander-in-chief. It shows how Joe Biden is thinking about this. He's appeasing the Chinese Communist Party. We saw that in that first call with Xi Jinping. He talked about it in that CNN town hall where he kind of was just nonchalant about how he was he says all the right things, but then he says to Xi, I gotta say this, I gotta stand up for human rights. You know that I have to, it's my job, but I don't really mean it. Right? Like, and that's really problematic.
It is very problematic because we have to realize China is not our ally. They are our adversary. They are intent on global domination. The human rights violations that they are carrying out against the Hong Kong freedom fighters, the Tibetans, the Taiwanese, the genocide they're conducting against the Uyghurs, the Muslim minority population, where they're putting them into slave labor, internment camps, trying to annihilate that population. When it comes to the economy, look at what they're doing. They practice what is called rob, replicate, and replace, which is they steal your intellectual property that you're manufacturing over there. They manufacture it at a lower price point, replicating it, and then they replace you in the market, destroying American companies, destroying American jobs. And we've talked about their soft propaganda with the Confucius Institutes and with the Confucius classrooms and the sister city programs. And then you look at what they're doing with big tech. They're so cozy with big tech. Big tech needs their supercomputer computing chips and their microprocessors, so they never block, throttle, shadow ban, demonetize, deplatform the Chinese Communist Party, who is putting people in jail if they speak against the Chinese Communist Party on Twitter and Facebook.
They're literally trying to erase a whole race of the Uyghurs.
That's right.
It's really disgusting. But so, Senator, the last thing I got to talk to you about here, obviously we're going to hear from President Trump. It's the first time we've heard from him since he left office. We're going to hear from him on Sunday. We don't know if he's going to run again in 2024. I think that if he does, even Senator Romney says that he will automatically be the nominee. I think everybody kind of agrees on that. But if he doesn't run, well, first off, what are you looking for from him? But if he doesn't run, what do you think that we need out of a standard bearer of the party? What are the qualities that you're looking for in a potential next commander-in-chief on the Republican side in the 2024 primary?
One thing we have to realize is there is a lot of buyer's remorse right now. And I say we that supported President Trump, we're kind of the committee of 74. We're 74 million people that supported the president. We need to be adding to those numbers. And as people realize that the Biden agenda is not going to be good for their checkbook, it is not going to be good for their individual rights, it is not going to be good for the economy, for markets, for preserving our sovereignty. I think that they're going to be looking for somebody who believes in them, the individual, like President Trump did. And that is why people loved him so, because he said, I believe in you.
And he fought for them.
And your ability to make a difference and to succeed.
They're looking for a fighter. They want a fighter. They want somebody who's going to go out there and fight for them. That's why you're in the Senate.
Doesn't accept the status quo.
Right, exactly. Senator Blackburn, really want to thank you for joining us here at CPAC. Glad you're having fun.
I'm delighted, always. Thank you.